Hey everybody, I'm Michael Monaco.
And I'm Bobby Salveson, and we are the Hazmat Guys, bringing you the knowledge and insight to make your job a little bit easier and safer. But before today's show, let's listen to our sponsors. From traditional headsets to in-ear communications, Cavcon offers rugged and reliable choices for any communication challenge and any harsh environment. Cavcon's award-winning Talk Through Your Ears technology is specifically designed for clear and consistent in-suit communications. Whether you're working from a quiet control room or responding to an incident in a full level A, Cavcom has the comm system that's right for you. Any suit, any respirator, any radio, any environment. Check them out at cavcominc.com, that's CAVCOMINC.com, or give them a call at 866-547-4988. Hey everybody, we have a great episode coming up today, but before we start the show, we want to share some exciting news from the Hazmat Guys. As some of you may know, we have been working on a hazmat drill book for quite some time, and we're pleased to announce that it is finally available on Amazon. This book was written by contributors from the hazmat community based all around the United States, and we think it will provide a ton of value for both you and your department. The title of the book is The National Emergency Response Hazmat Drills, 50 Drills to Improve Your Team, better known as NERD. No, this was not a mistake. Anyway, the goal of the book has been to help the hazmat community, and we hope that you'll take a moment to check it out and share it. We have the link in the show notes, and if you have a moment, please leave us a positive review in Amazon. We'd be very grateful. We wanted to get NERD on the bestseller list and give more exposure to our community. Again, the book is called National Emergency Response Hazmat Drills, 50 Drills to Improve Your Team, and there's both a paperback and Kindle version available. Thank you, everybody.
Now let's get into the show. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about some battery runs that we've kind of been encountering and going through. Going through? Well, we didn't really go through them.
I was playing the silent game for a minute. I just wanted to, I was just
going, well, we didn't really go through the run. We were in the run.
No.
We weren't really in the run. We're part of the run. Oh, well. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, this was sent to us by a listener.
Yes, it was. We as in the world.
We are very talented at replacing first person with third person or third person with first person and really embracing, making you feel like you're part of the whole team.
Yeah, well, we've had to lie so much in our lives to get where we are that we just naturally take credit for everything.
Actually, we don't know anything about hazardous materials. We're just very good actors.
Very good. Very good. Joe is actually the guy sitting next to me. He kind of describes to me what's going on, and I just play it off as if I know.
Just
totally pulling this out of my ass.
That's exactly what happens. Well, before we get into our charade, I will tell you about our next couple of shows that we're going to be almost next week. Jeez, it's going to be... Actually, it is next week. As of this recording, I will be in Florida.
Sunny Florida.
Presenting You Suck at Teaching Hazmat, trying to get all the instructors out there a little bit better at their craft. And that will be... Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I always meet some pretty cool people down there. Unfortunately, we're not there very long, but I think the next one is going to be Wisconsin. I think it's in March. We're always looking forward to New York State. We just are booked now for the Midwest with Mr. Emery. Cold Zone with our friends, Chuck Flory and Mike, awesome dudes. They're just pouring in. So if you have a conference that you want our charade, our tomfoolery, smoke and mirrors shenanigans, we can
bring our experts.
Yeah, give us an email at info@thehazmatguys, and we'll see what we can do for you. So
and if you don't want us to come to a conference, but you actually want us to come teach something at your department, feel free to reach out to us as well, because
give us a holler.
We got all that lined up, all that. We do all that nonsense.
Ugh. So, all right, what is on tap? This has been a whole series of Mike basically setting me up, not giving me any juice, and having the whole outline on his side, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna shoot from the hip.
Yeah,
So
I like this. I enjoy this because I feel like it gives insight into runs. You know, we can sit and we can do lectures on chemical physical properties. We can do lectures on, you know, thoughts on responding and hazards and what you know, we could talk about a 406 and all the different components of it. But I think it lends a lot to the listener when they actually can walk through us in a run or somebody in a run and hear the thought process behind the decisions that were made.
It's totally a different feel. We've been very used to, and you, the loyal listener, have been very used to us setting up very structured, rigid, I don't want to say outlines, but, and I don't want to say scripts. Scripts are probably the wrong one. We don't say verbatim. There's an awful lot of riffing.
Yeah,
like
I would say an outline. It's
an outline.
Yeah,
bullet points.
It's like an old person following Google Maps. You know, like,
yeah,
it's there, but every once in a while we think we know better and we veer, and then we realize that we need to come back on track, and so
oopsie.
Right, it is what it is.
No, but this is just a different feel. So we're trying it out. We'll see what happens. And to be honest with you, the response so far has been quite positive. So we're going to keep exploring this cave a little bit more.
Right. Well, except for apparently one guy that you just told me about doesn't.
Whatever. He doesn't matter.
No, he doesn't matter at all.
He's a nobody.
Nothing. You bring nothing to the table.
Cop.
So we want to talk a little bit about batteries, and I wanted to hit this one because we had a show a while back with a gentleman by the name of Paul Rogers, who was a lieutenant on our job. He got very, very big in the batteries world, especially with all the what do they call them?
ESS?
ESS, there you go. The
energy storage systems.
The energy storage systems and all the batteries, the lithium-ion batteries that are coming into play, and how that kind of wraps into hazmat response. But he also did a very lot on how fire departments should be responding to batteries. And I mean, he did studies with some major companies that, you know.
We'll say it.
Yeah.
We'll say, you know, like, listen, he doesn't have Elon Musk's number in his phone.
Right. Elon Musk has his number
in his phone.
Yes.
This is that kind of guy.
Right. Just tons of information. He sits on NFPA boards. So if you haven't listened to the Batteries with Paul Rogers episode.
What episode was that?
87.
87, right.
I think we actually talked to him a couple times, but
we did.
The big one I think was 87. And you know that was the one that we had that he would tell us about stuff that was going on, and that he called us up before we released, and he's like, you got to cut that out, that's classified. We're like, what? He's like, yeah. We're like, all right. So, but he is a phenomenal he has some phenomenal insights, and he actually was a subject matter expert on this run that we had. So that's why I kind of bring him up, because some of the things that we did on this run was because of Paul Rogers. So we had a couple different runs, a couple different battery types. We're going to kind of hit them and talk about them a little, and kind of refer back again to what we had learned in episode 87. So
right.
You want to give a quick, maybe like the start of the run, how it came over?
Yeah, sure. So just let me read from the email that was sent to us. The person coincidentally knew Paul Rogers as well and was able to communicate with him. But the initial information that came through the run was it was a leaking battery, I believe it was. And so on the way to the run or the incident, this was quite a distance away. I mean, you know, not a New York City short run where everything's very local. I'm talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours of response time. So
it would be like the equivalent of us going to like Staten Island.
Yeah, like way from one end to the other end of this of the city. So during that time, this person was able to contact Paul Rogers, and Paul Rogers immediately responds to phone calls from anybody needing help. That's just his nature, almost to a fault. So he was in the middle of a shower, got out of the shower, ready to spring into action at any time. And
he
was consulting for the batteries.
For the batteries, yeah. I just want to.
It's for the kids. And basically it was like, what do we do? And there was some information that was kind of key, that was needed in order to give a good response. So one of them was what kind of batteries. I mean, that kind of makes a big deal. And if you listen back to that old episode, you think, oh, okay, that should be pretty easy to find. And what was happening was the first two companies, the companies that at first, there is no markings. Like, these batteries don't come with big labels saying, this is lithium metal hydride oxide sulfide dides. It doesn't say that crap.
Right.
Which they just installed.
Which actually is I'm really actually happy that you brought that up first, because if we look at our NFPA template for a hot wash that we're trying to follow, one of the very first things is to identify the special containers involved.
Right.
So, yeah, like you said, this is one of those ones that you weren't able to just look at it.
No. First off, the guy was trying to identify it via phone. Right, their department's phones, their IT department, their information technology department, the computer department, doesn't allow for picture text to be sent. Rightfully so in most cases. You give a firefighter a phone, and all types of unsavory pictures will come across it. So they've limited that access, but that also is a hindrance for actual operational knowledge. So you can't say, well, this is what I have, and where the specialist can look at it and go, oh, I've seen that. And so you're getting, an information overload. And we've said this many times. Some of these chemicals we're going to are 35, 40, 60 letters long. The difference in one letter is enormous. It's the difference between, dating Mario and Maria. There's a big difference there.
Big difference.
Right? So, pretty big difference. So, we didn't know what kind. And so he gave us two very different paths to go down. Well, if it's this one, you're going to take the battery out and you're going to put it into a bucket of water. And if it's this one, you don't want to put it underwater, and you want to put it with maybe carbon dioxide. And I'm like, how do I know which one? Well, it should be written on the side. But what if it's not? Like, there's two very drastic different routes I can go down, and one is contraindicated for the other.
Right.
So, like, I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Like, how do you do this now?
So, you got the basic information the basic information was gathered from Paul Rogers. Arrive on scene. What did you all have?
All right. So it seems
basically, how did you collect? How did you verify the presence of the hazardous materials? Did you use any monitoring equipment? And then the next step would be collecting, interpreting the hazard response information. So kind of walk me through what you had when you arrived on scene.
All right. First off, the building manager met us outside. Now, the first two companies were there, right? So they were there, already there. They were inside. They were outside. There was really nothing for them to do. So they're kind of like, they look bored. Right, they weren't like engaged anymore. They're like, this is a battery job. It's not really our purview. It's not on fire. Can't shoot wet stuff at it, wet stuff at it, and I can't break it with my Halogen. So I'm just gonna stand here and wait for these nerds to come.
Right, the nerds.
Which, okay, fine. So we get the basic skinny. There's a couple of cells that are overheating. We walk maybe 25, 30 feet down the hole, hook a quick left, and it's right there. I mean, it is seriously, if you took your shoe off, you could throw it through the front door from where this room was. And when we get there, there's a whole rack. When I mean a rack, maybe 36 inches deep, 24 wide, 6 feet tall, of just these long shoebox type batteries. Right? Okay, fine. No problem. So the first thing we do is we go and call for a ratchet, and we start disconnecting the metal bars.
Why? Well, what? All right. So before you start going into that,
yeah.
What meters did you have? What did you walk in with?
Oh, sorry, completely missed that. So, one of the major concerns was an acidic, corrosive atmosphere.
Why? Where would that have come from?
Well, if you have a battery that's overcharging. Right, so if I have a battery that's overcharging, I have a potential of hydrogen being liberated. That's one. if I have something that's maybe degrading in some way, shape, or form within these battery cells. Now, these packs are pretty freaking tight. So if I do have a perforation or whatever of the casement, I have the possibility of having corrosives in air. Now, that kind of thing is pretty easy to pick up. So if you have your pH paper on your arm or visor, which I kind of advise against,
I'm not
wetted.
Not a visor fan.
Not a visor fan. It's just me personally. Slightly wetted. And I walk in there and I keep my eyes on that prize. I keep my eyes on those pH papers. If they start switching to the red, more than likely red, if they start switching either way, it's a stop. That's an action level. We have to take an action. It could be shift left, shift right, call for a ham sandwich, whatever you want to do, right? We're going to stop and we're going to change something. And our changing might be in that situation. Let's say I got 5 feet in and I have another 15 feet to go. If I've hit an action level, I have to take an action. So I can either, in my mind, ventilate, change the atmosphere, make it tenable for me to get to that room, or upgrade my PPE. That's basically your operation.
Did you guys have any changes in that pH paper?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, we walked right up within 1 foot of that case, and we didn't have any triggers of corrosive, F paper, KI paper, you name it, nothing. So what that's telling me is that whatever reaction happened. It's over, right? And then you go and you reinforce. If it looks like a dog and it barks like a dog and then it's probably a dog.
Okay.
So if we had a reaction, I want to confirm the reaction is no longer taking place. If it is happening, maybe I just confine it. I close the door and I hang out a little bit.
Right.
All right, no big deal.
Well,
so
what other meters?
We took a thermal imaging camera. Right, we one of the guys that was on entry with this gentleman that was on this incident, obviously, took the thermal imaging camera out and shot it at the area that was affected. The problem was everything is hot in this room. Everything. It's not because everything's reacting. Everything is hot in this room
because it's an electrical room that is running. Computers, right? I think there were computers, there was phones, there was a battery bank. If I'm right, am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, the ventilation sucked, so everything's hot. Like the metal's hot, the floors are hot, the wires are hot, the paints, the walls, everything.
Everything was hot. Was there any damage to the actual containers themselves? Or I guess so that would be the batteries. Like when you were visually looking at these containers, were you like, oh, there is definitely something going on here?
Let me get to that. So when we first get in there, I'm going to say around hip height and lower, which is nice, easy to work with. Hip height and lower is the affected area. Shine a quick flashlight in there, and you see the side walls of pretty much 2 racks of cells were bulging horizontally to the point where they're kind of compressing on each other, right? And they're in these metal kind of sleeves. So you would think that if I just grab the handle on the front, lift a half an inch, and pull, the whole thing would come out like a big shoebox, right? It would
make sense, yeah.
But they're all bolted together because instead of them linking them with wire, they use just metal bars, and they're put on with, let's say, a half-inch nut. So this guy, very inventive and studious hazmat technician, calls out for a socket set, and he calls out for 2 of them. So one guy can work on it, the other guy can work on it, and they just basically start disassembling, which started the mitigation process. So if I am to start disconnecting a circuit, and I'm not trying to get into too much electricity kind of thing, but after this was sent into us, I kind of got a little bit into it. If you disconnect and you break open a circuit, there is no possibility for charging anymore as far as these circuits,
for the batteries that were set up,
right? So this was the beginning of the mitigation. This is the beginning, right? So once all of these things has been disassembled, we obviously try to lift and pull, and they wouldn't come. Now, these drawers don't come out in bulk because these things weigh like 70, 80 pounds each.
Did that give a clue? The the weight and the anything give a clue as to yet what type of battery that you were dealing with? Because from what I remember, Rogers had said, "Hey, if you have this, you do this. If you have this, you do this."
Yeah.
Was there at this point any feeling like, oh, maybe these are the types of batteries we have?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, we asked, and the building manager, whatever you want to call it, he was there. We asked him for the SDSs. We asked him for anything that can give us a lead-in, labels, repair tags, anything, nothing. So once we disconnected those metal bars, this ultra incredible hazmat specialist was like, hey, listen, let's take a shot with a temperature gun, right? With a digital temperature gun and get a number. And let's call the number 90 degrees. I'm just going to make up a bullshit number. 90 degrees. Now, operations is still happening. The room is rather small. 2 guys are in there, and it's, again, pH paper, non-reactive. All you meter is non-reactive. It was hot. And I'm not joking, it was probably like 100 degrees in this room. So you can obviously think, you're in gear, you're sweating. They opted to take off their jackets. So they're working with nitrile gloves. They're working with proper eye protection, stuff like that. And they're trying to get these things out, but they're melted together now. So these 5 independent cells are now one plastic
mush
cell. Yeah.
Right.
But 5 minutes after them trying to separate, and to no avail, the temperature did go down about 0.3 degrees. You've heard us talk about First Line Technologies' Dahlgren Decon solution and their FiberTech wipes and mitts. They've just come out with Enhanced Decon Systems Kit, which contains everything you need to quickly decontaminate 6 to 24 operators and all their gear in one fully equipped grab-it-and-go bagged. This kit has been hazmat team tested and approved, and it's the only full-team modified decon kit with the power of Dahlgren Decon and FiberTech wipes to counter hundreds of known and emerging threats. The EDS kit is perfect for incidents where a small footprint, low logistics decontamination SOP is appropriate. Are you operating in a harsh environment? No problem. Whether it's minus 10 or 104 degrees F, Dahlgren Decon will maintain its effectiveness and can be easily applied to neutralize threats. The kit is stable in temperatures from minus 40 to 160 degrees F if you carry the RSDL with you. If you use all the consumables in the kit, unlike other rapid deployment kits, you do not need to buy a complete kit to resupply. Just purchase one of the First Line EDS replenishment packs and order just the elements you need. When ounces count and the clock is ticking, grab the EDS kit and go. Call the guys at First Line Technology for more information or a quote at 703-955-7510 or email them at sales@firstlinetech.com.
Which would be expected, right? Because you literally, once in one of these, in this particular type of battery, I believe this battery turned out to be an old lead acid batteries, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes. And in lead acid style batteries, the malfunction of the battery happens while it's charging. And this was something that Paul Rogers had talked about in one of the episodes that we talked to him, is that most of the battery technologies that are out there, once there is no longer a charge going to the battery is rendered pretty much safe, and that would be the style that we would want to take and just kind of put off to the side, outside, and allow it to cool down.
Right. Exactly.
As opposed to the newer types of batteries, which were the lithium-ion batteries.
Right, which you have to actively cool.
Right.
Not passively cool.
Because due to the chemistry within a lithium-ion battery, once that cell becomes damaged, you start to create thermal runaway. So just by the very fact that they started cooling down after they were disconnected, led or allowed to, I don't know what the right word for that would be.
Doesn't matter.
It really focused in on the type of battery that you have, if you come in and you start to disconnect stuff and that battery is still, it's getting hotter, it's maintaining a heat, or that heat is spreading, you definitely know you're dealing with like a lithium-ion type of battery, and that is only going to get worse if something isn't done.
Right, and that comes back, and I've talked to Paul at length about this thing, and he says people are normally hung up about the whole lithium-ion batteries are typically lithium salts. There's a big difference between lithium salts and elemental lithium. Elemental lithium will give off hydrogen. Lithium salts don't. Basically, So though the manufacturer and stuff will be like, oh, you put a battery underwater. Yes, it's going to give off limited amounts of hydrogen, but with a little bit of a fog pattern of a hose line above it, it's easily manageable outside. Right. It's really not a big deal, and the thermal runaway is being mitigated by the water itself. It's being capped, what we'll say.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, like, we've been to battery banks that were giving off hydrogen before, and one battery is not really enough to cause like this massive building explosion. Right? Like, it's hydrogen, but it's not, you're not getting
the Hindenburg.
Yeah. In a room, in a 10 by 10 room filled with batteries, one battery is not going to blow the place to smithereens. So
right.
You're gonna get hydrogen, which is a phenomenal, key. Your CO meter is gonna go off on the hydrogen. Actually, hydrogen. I got in a lot of trouble once. Do you remember this when we had the hydrogen cylinders in the back of the firehouse? And
yeah.
I decided you may have even still been in the squad at this point. We had a new meter. And I wanted to see what would happen to the meter if we introduced it to hydrogen. So I was introducing the meters to hydrogen. I was burning them all out.
Yeah.
And the boss at the time, he got very, very upset with me, and he wanted to know why I would do that. And it was a simple answer, because I wanted to see what would happen in the presence of hydrogen. And basically, in the presence of hydrogen, your whole meter just kind of goes bonkers.
Yeah.
So it wasn't happy. The sensors weren't happy. The light bulbs weren't happy. Nothing was happy in the presence of hydrogen. So if you get that kind of reaction, you're probably dealing with a battery that is, for some reason starting to overheat.
Yeah. So I mean, that was one of my takeaways from this guy's story, is that once he disconnected these things, one of the earliest things he did, and it was very heads-up move, is to put a thermal gun on it, get a number, and then measure over time the trend. Now, what was almost a sticking point is that the supervisor of the operation was not happy at the progress, the number, how fast it was going down. Now, you got to think about this in a little bit of a wider view, is that the room is made to be isolated. Ventilation is going to be limited to just like whatever, that fart fan that's above the door, right?
Right.
Very, very limited. So, okay, let's put a little more air in this. But these racks are very tight. They're not made for ventilation. They're made to release heat, but not to ventilate. And so the order was given for this guy to disassemble this rack with nuts and bolts, zero clearance on left and right. It was almost impossible. So what ended up having to be done was to take a Halligan, a barbaric tool in itself, and start actively trying to split these melted together cells apart without purging the contents on the ground. Now, these things are typically holding sulfuric acid in concentration.
Right.
In quantity and concentration.
Right. They were lead acid batteries, which, by the way, is the second reason why the temperatures didn't really drop within the hour or 2 hours that we were there, is because you're dealing with a very dense metal that holds on to heat a lot of energy.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. So the fact that even if it maintained its temperature, that is better than going up.
Right. It didn't go positive. It wasn't going down as fast, but I'll take the non-positive. And so when one of them did crack, it seems that the sulfuric acid that was anticipated wasn't there. And that's when the next piece of information kind of came out was, the last time these things were installed, crap, was it like 12 years ago?
Yeah, they were old ass batteries.
Dude, they are those things are supposed to be replaced like every 5 years. The building owner was probably saying, let me squeak a couple more years out. And so with no lubrication between these lead acid, there's no more acid. These things went into thermal runaway because they were dry as a bone. It's like running a car without any antifreeze in it. The thing is going to run hot.
Right. And then it ran hot. That heat went to the outer shell.
Yes.
And they swelled. And they literally put pressure and, like, jammed themselves into this little casing that you then had to disassemble to get these 70-pound batteries each out, jammed between each other.
Yeah, so basically, from what this guy said, they were able to pop all these batteries apart. They were able to hand carry them out to the 15 feet out to the parking lot. It was a cool night outside, and they just basically let them sit in the parking lot, much to the building owner's chagrin. But this department, like many departments, once they take them from an emergency to a cleanup issue, it is not their problem no more. So they basically walked away. So that's it. I mean, like the whole battery backup system, and I believe the battery backup system was not for like a cell tower. It was for like the phone system.
Yeah, it was they were running a phone bank inside one of the offices because it was like 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning when this happened, and there was a whole office filled with people on the phones. They were probably, I don't know, selling solar panels
cold
to
callers,
people in
whatever the hell.
England or something like that.
I think they work for the Hazmat Guys. Just calling.
I don't know who they'd be talking to that late.
There's nobody to talk to.
What do you think would have happened? Let's go back a little bit, and let's say these were lithium-ion batteries that were in a bank. Now, you said the lead acid, we ended up taking those outside. We monitored them even outside to make sure the temperature dropped. So that was kind of the evaluation process, right? We evaluated it, and then we terminated the incident by handing it over back to the building manager. If these were the lithium-ion batteries, which generally come, again, in a bank, they generally, just like, they're in a case. Each bank or block of batteries is in a case. We would have taken those out. We would have put them in water. What do you think the evaluation process at that point would have been?
Well, let me just clarify that a little bit. I probably wouldn't take, and this is under advisement from people that are in the field, I wouldn't take the whole cell and just indiscriminately drop it underwater. My intent is to cool. My intent is not to short it out. So if I can prevent that, I'll do it. So what I'm going to do is throw it inside a plastic bag and put the plastic bag and the battery in the water.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now the plastic bag is giving off the hydrogen. The water is cooling through the plastic bag because it's in such close proximity. And I can easily throw a fog line right across the top of it and almost give it a Venturi type effect to get all that vapor out there and thrown about.
Right.
Okay?
Or bring it outside.
Right.
We don't even have to necessarily do that inside, right?
That's silly.
We can fill up a drum outside. We can do all of that stuff and just kind of bring it and let it just do its thing outside.
No, that's rookie. That's Bush League right there.
Yeah.
So
a lot of we had done a walkthrough of one of these new ESSs that is literally like trailers, like Connex boxes filled with batteries that they're using to supplement the grid. And one of the things that struck me as odd, we were there when the people who were actually building it were there. I guess the actual creation, the people that created it. And he was astounded by the fact that the New York City, the code required them to put in standpipes and perforated pipes and things like that. And he's like, we've never done this before. He's like, there's no place else that's ever required us to actually put in, like a standpipe type system. And we were like, well, what do you normally do? And he's like, well, we usually do a special agent. What is it? It's like an F-250 or something like that. And he goes, all we're looking to do is just kind of cool it. He goes, because this Connex box it's worth over like $4 million. And the moment that you put water in it, the whole thing is destroyed.
It's garbage.
It's garbage. He goes, we would rather cool it to the point that then somebody can enter, pull out the affected batteries, and swap them out with something that's good, because it's literally just at this point, when they're just heating up, it's literally just those cells that are affected. We can swap them out with something that...
Yeah, these things have electronics that send back to the owner and say, cell number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is getting hot. And they come over and they go, okay, let me just pull that one and I'll swap it out and let me bench test this one. Like, they're very proactive. This guy was trying to suck 6 years probably post-death life from these things.
Yeah, these were not high-end lithium-ion battery banks.
No.
These were just... No. These were like one step above RV remote control batteries, right?
Like Evereadys that we used to put in our RC cars back, the cat over the night, whatever. Anyway. But interesting stuff. I mean, like, that... As far as the lack of information was very disheartening. To have the information and not be able to apply the information because we didn't have the information. You know what I'm saying? I knew the play,
right,
but I didn't know what play to apply because we couldn't figure out what the play, what the operation was.
Right, because
it was real. I mean, even when we got there, we couldn't figure out the play
because you just sometimes just by looking at these batteries, you just don't know. And there's all different types of technologies out there. The lithium ion. You have your lead acid. You have there's sulfur based ones. There's
tons,
all different types,
and they're constantly evolving.
Yeah. So if you have in your day-to-day running around, you notice that you come across someplace with a battery bank, try to figure out if you can get a subject matter expert and give you some information on those batteries. You don't, and I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway from this is don't just walk in there and do something. You really need to have that expert tell you, okay, listen, this is what you have, this is what you should do.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Join us next week when we go through another run or a class or something.
Yeah. If you have a moment, please head over to iTunes and leave us a positive review. And don't forget to check out the book, National Emergency Response Hazmat Drills, or NERD, on Amazon.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at the Hazmat Guys. And take a moment to call our comment hotline at 843-628-1484 and go to www.thehazmatguys.com and sign up for the newsletter.
We seriously look forward to your feedback about any of the information provided, and we also want to hear about interesting incidents that you were a part of. So you can send us a note at feedback@thehazmatguys.com. And remember, any of the information that you share with us, if we put it on air, can always remain anonymous.
Remember, guys, don't just get on the job. Get into the job.